Since 2003, this is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
The Sports Source is presented by Junk Be Gone, Pipe Wrench, and the Garza Law Firm.
The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Junk Be Gone studios for today's edition of the Sports Source. It's going to be a busy one today. The Vols had their first scrimmage. The quarterback battle rolls on, but it's all under the shadow of a major injury. Let's go ahead and show you what we got on today's show. Scrimmage news you need. We got everything. We're going to break that down for you. Also, the quarterback race, as I mentioned, Farooq, the Idriss Farooq injury and its impact on Knowles' defense. Those two lines should be squeezed together. My bad. Farooq injury and impact on Knowles' defense. Your expectations and ours. We're going to do this every week where we tell you our expectations for the season. Are they rising or falling? That's going to be our poll question for you. Are your expectations rising or falling? Who's going to be better prepared for that Week 2 matchup, Georgia Tech or Tennessee? I'll explain that. We got a couple of signs of the sports apocalypse. We haven't done that in a while. And then the Gutless 9, I'm going to lay out for you the 9 most cowardly programs in college football. The Gutless 9, that's coming your way a little later in today's show. First segment of our program today brought to you by Junk Be Gone. Now through August 31st, get $20 off any full-service junk removal job. Do me a favor, folks. Go read the reviews for Junk Be Gone. They are littered with praise for crew members, by name. People who use Junk Be Gone then go and say, man, their people are great people. They will take care of your stuff. If you want a full-service junk removal where you don't have to do all the work, this is the crew to have come into your home. They're not going to bang up your walls. They're not going to break stuff getting the junk out of there. They're not going to groan and complain. Junk Be Gone will take good care of you as they have me for many, many years. JunkBegone.biz to learn more. All right. To learn more about the Vols, we bring in these gentlemen. I'm going to do this in reverse today. We got Bob Hodge over here on the left.
I've never been first.
Bob Hodge over here on the left. We got right next to him, Tyler Ivins from 99.1 The Sports Animal, where you do Monday through Friday with Kaner. That's Eric Kane. That is 3 to 7, Monday through Friday. 6 to 9 every morning on the Sports Animal. We have Vince Ferrara, who does it with John Wilkerson. Vince, thanks for being here.
Always appreciate it.
And then bookending from my first season back in 2023, back in 2003, I should say, Chuck Cavaliers. Chuck, thanks for being here. Okay, everybody doing okay today?
Yep.
Scrimmage Sunday, yeah.
Okay, break down the first scrimmage, cool. We got a lot to cover. I want to start with the quarterbacks because that's what everybody talks about. We will get into the Farooq injury and its impact and plus all kinds of other scrimmage notes. But I want to show you 4 different takes from what people are saying, writing, observing with the quarterbacks. Let's start with what Josh Heupel had to say yesterday. They've had really positive days, positive plays, he told the media yesterday. They've all had one that they probably would do a little bit different. The fundamentals and technique continue to get better, understanding of what we're doing. Just want to see them continue to grow here over the next couple of weeks. Okay, coach speak. Yep. Next. Yep. Go Vols 24/7, Ben McKee, he wrote, MacIntyre deserves a ton of credit for how he has responded to a poor showing in the spring. He went to work over the summer months while many label Brandon the starter and quickly closed however big the gap was once camp started. With that said, it still feels as if Brandon is ahead of MacIntyre, even if it's not by much. Brandon continues to do just a little bit more when the bullets are flying. MacIntyre feels like a quality game manager at this point, while the ceiling and potential remains higher with Brandon. Next take, I think it's Pete Nakos of On 3. Sources told On 3 that both quarterbacks had moments where they flashed upside. Each also had moments where they could have been better. In particular, Brandon showed off his athleticism and arm strength with multiple longer completions down the field. He also had a touchdown pass in the red zone. Brandon continues to show his ability to make plays in in-game situations. And then finally, Adam Sparks, the Oxford News Sentinel. Neither quarterback's been good enough to win the job. Heupel said MacIntyre and Brandon have improved since spring and the start of preseason practice. He likes their progress and trajectory, but Heupel also acknowledged that they've been inconsistent, which is predictable for inexperienced quarterbacks. MacIntyre played 18 snaps last season, and of course Brandon enrolled in January. All right, so it's Brandon by a mile, it's Brandon by inches, it's neither of these guys has claimed it. Vince, we asked last week what the odds were of Brandon or MacIntyre. Is this thing still Faizon Brandon's job to lose, in your opinion?
It is. I'm probably somewhere between those two different spectrums and perspectives that you saw given in those write-ups. And there's a little bit of truth based on the moment if you're riding the wave. But I do think Faizon Brandon, when I've seen him in practice, has looked like the sharper quarterback. Bigger test is obviously in those games, in those scrimmages, where you have the full judgment of how a quarterback needs to operate in this system and doing it in the moment. You saw in some of the highlights that UT put out, he did have some scrambles. And then in terms of him just being the higher upside quarterback, I think when it is 11 on 11, you see that play out as well. So I do think it's his to lose. To me, I would be surprised if with one more scrimmage to go in this week of practice that it would go the other way.
Yeah. I started thinking about blindside and run the ball. Every time I see something about the quarter, I think you're really going to have to lean on your running game. And I look at these guys and what happens when a play breaks down? Who knows the offense really well? Because you're going to have to know where everybody's supposed to be, and that's asking a lot of inexperienced quarterbacks. But I think when it's all said and done, it sounds like Faizon Brandon just brings you a little bit more.
Also, one other thing when it breaks down, what we can't see in one of these scrimmages when they're wearing the red jerseys is Brandon's a better runner.
Yeah.
So that he doesn't, he's not able to expose or to exploit that advantage at this point, which I would think the coaches have to know and have to be considering as part of their breakdown. We're not seeing it in the scrimmage, but he can do more with his legs than George MacIntyre. Your thoughts on where this thing stands, Tyler?
I told you last week I thought this was 60-40 in Faizon Brandon's camp. I'm still at 60-40 in Faizon Brandon's camp. I agree with what Ben McKee wrote up. I applaud George MacIntyre for, in fact, closing the gap, where the narrative during the summer was night and day difference, and it never was night and day difference. Now the gap's a little bit closed. This will be a competition where I believe by the time we get to the second scrimmage, there is now a pecking order. Faizon is 1, George is 2, and it's going to take George having to have an incredible final showing over the handful of days that we have remaining in fall camp to overtake Faizon Brandon. And I think the one thing when we look back on this, if you're clicking through, going back to the archives, it's going to cost George MacIntyre the starting job as he holds onto the football way too long. Where Faizon Brandon sees it, he attacks it, he gets out of the pocket, he's elusive. All that at the end of the day gives him a better opportunity to be the starting quarterback September 5th against Furman.
I heard that again yesterday, the holding on to it a little bit too long. That came out for George MacIntyre, which was one of the issues in the spring. Bob Hodge.
I take issue with what one of these guys said, how they look when the bullets are flying. There ain't no bullets flown yet. They're not getting hit. And so to me, a lot of this, it makes sense. If you're seeing the guy that makes the quicker read, that's great. You're seeing the guy that looks more athletic, that's fantastic. I just come back to, and I said it yesterday on the show, I come back to when one of these guys gets lit up, does it change everything? Think about it. George MacIntyre ain't really been hit for 18 months or more since he last played high school football. Okay? I just think that it's Faizon Brandon's ahead, but let's see what happens when he goes out there and people start hitting him, rattling his cage a little bit.
Some more notes. I'll get to you in just 1 second. Just want to throw out some more notes from yesterday. There were 3 plays of 25 yards or more, and there would have been a 4th, but there was a drop, which we'll get to later. But all 3 of those 25-yard pass plays were Faizon Brandon plays. George MacIntyre wasn't aided. He had a lot of drops, supposedly.
Where have we heard that before?
And let's just, to be honest, let's once again point out that they don't let you see this. So this is taking, whether it's people we talk to or other media guys who they talk to, and you take what those media guys said like we did there. We're basically taking what people inside the room are saying. Always take that with a grain of salt because you never know what the reason they're saying it is.
Remember the claw fence.
Well, yeah. With that, and I also thought it was interesting last week.
Please don't.
We had a conversation where all of a sudden it was like, what are the odds on Brandon? And everybody's like, 90%, 90%, 90%. And then suddenly, last Sunday night, people start getting calls saying, oh, no, MacIntyre's really caught up big. Sometimes, this show gets good ratings. I know people watch it, and sometimes it's like the narrative's getting away from us. Yeah. Throw this out there. So we are trying to tell you what everybody's saying, but we didn't see it with our own eyes. Nobody did. Drops for George MacIntyre also had to deal with some bad snaps. out there. And then, as you said, he also held on to the ball a little bit too long.
Sounds like he's being sabotaged.
A little bit. All right, Vince, go ahead. I didn't mean to jump on you.
No, two quick things I would say. One, in what Tyler mentioned with the slower delivery, the slower release, getting the football out there quicker for Brandon. It's also the release. It's not just the decision-making, hold on to the ball too long. Brandon has a quick twitch release, whereas George MacIntyre is so long, it's got a longer windup, similar to Nico. That's one. And two, Brandon didn't turn the ball over. And that's really a big part of the decision-making for this coaches. Now, MacIntyre did, but it was an incredible diving interception by
supposedly
Arian
it was an Arian Carter tip to himself and then made a great play.
Amazing.
I did see some people that graded him down for the interception. Others said, not going to hold that against him. It was such a great play.
Yeah.
Which is what the coaches told them. So who knows?
Yeah. Well, there's video of that Carter interception. It was amazing.
Okay. Anything else? We're good on the quarterbacks?
Yep.
Okay. So there's the quarterback situation. When we come back, let's talk about all the other scrimmage notes. Then we're going to get into the Idriss Farooq injury. We'll take you back to some things Jim Knowles has said about how he uses the safeties in his defense. Now it's a situation of, well, do you just use your deep linebacker? You put another linebacker on the field. We'll discuss all that and a lot more. Come on back on the Sports Source. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Build stronger, build quieter, build more energy-efficient homes and buildings using Nudura insulated concrete foams. Nudura is insulation and structure all in one pour. No one knows more about Nudura than A.G. Hines Company right in town. Check out their website or visit them on Hines Street in downtown Knoxville to learn more. The Hines family's been doing it since 1920. Same family, same location for 106 years. You can trust them. aghines.com to learn more. Okay, let's talk about the most common observations from yesterday's scrimmage, the things that most people are referring to, and you guys can disagree with these. You guys can jump in and agree with these. We're talking more positional stuff here. We'll get into individuals a little later. Tyler, you go first here, but the three things that seem to stand out to me that I saw mentioned most often. The running backs look good.
Yeah.
Naturally, I always flip it. The D-line was inconsistent because they didn't stop the run. But the D-line did generate a pass rush at times. Those seem to be the three big takeaways. Also, I would guess you would say a lot of drops for George MacIntyre out there, so that makes me question the receivers a little bit. Still got drops. Any other observations out there, or do you want to take one of these? Have you heard differently on any of these?
No, I would concur on all those, and I think that maybe this is a little bit of praise, especially a few days after hearing from Rodney Gardner. When Rodney Gardner goes to the podium, you do less talking and more listening. And Rodney Gardner continued to echo, we don't need to find a dude, we need to find the dude. Who is the guy who's going to help us be identified to lead the pass rush? And it sounds like that perhaps maybe coming out of scrimmage number one, Rodney Gardner is going to be able to go to his room, look around at some of them and go, well, there's the dude. There's potentially another candidate to be the dude. So I'm going to look a little deeper into the ingredients and say, hopefully in this milk carton question mark silhouette of who's it going to be, perhaps maybe some guys emerge and identify themselves.
Yeah, I'd say the running back position is something that not only have you heard about consistently, not only in the scrimmage, having good camps, but Josh Heupel mentioned it as well.
Yeah.
He said they've had a really good camp. And he doesn't often just trot out one position and complement them in that way. You see long runs. There was a long TD run by DeJuan Morris. Javen Gordon had a really good game, scrimmage again. And all those guys, the players and Heupel even yesterday, mentioning Justin Baker also. You could see it in one of the highlights. He had an explosive run too. So I think it's very encouraging, that group and the way they have had the scrimmage and the fall.
If you ask me where my confidence is based on the positions, all of them, I know everybody loves the offensive line. I would go linebacker and running back. But now the running back position it doesn't have to be 5 deep like an offensive line. But I do think they've got the guys there, and I think Deshaun Bishop's very solid.
Which is great, quickly, because during the offseason, what have we said? It feels like we're not talking about running backs and linebackers enough. We only need to talk about them when there becomes an issue. Yeah. And it seems like things have been smooth thus far.
Well, what worried me about all the different stuff that you read and hear that came out of that scrimmage was that they did get a pass rush. Now, what's concerning about that? Oh, this defensive line can't generate a pass rush,
right,
and your offensive line is the strength of the team, or at least one of them. So I think that's a little bit concerning that suddenly, it's a scrimmage. We know everything's different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if your offensive line was giving up a pass rush to a group that's not suspected of having a great pass rush, I would find that worrisome.
Well, and we also, what does that mean? They generated a pass rush at times. All right, is that 10 times? Is that twice? And is that 2 times when George MacIntyre held on to the ball too long?
And also, did they blow the whistle when they got within 5 yards of the guy with the red jersey on?
Yeah, you always wonder when you hear about the defensive line's been inconsistent or can't do this, and who's going to be the Leo, who's going to be that kind of star player on your defense. If you hear they're struggling, doesn't that kind of make you think, well, the offensive line must be doing okay or better than okay? If you're hearing, well, I tell you what, we didn't do well stopping to run for a while, but then we generated some pass rush. That's not exactly feel good,
Well, and Rodney Gardner talked about the fact earlier this week. He came out and said they've been inconsistent.
Yeah, stacked good performances, practice.
I've heard they need a dude.
You heard that?
The dude. Not a dude.
If I could think of the actor's name, I would say. Just call the guy from The Big Lebowski. Jeff Bridges. How do you not think of Jeff Bridges?
Well, that's been a while.
Man.
I would also throw in tight ends. That's probably some of the drops you may have heard about. Some of them were from that group. So and I've seen that in camp.
Well, let's hold on to that. We'll talk about individuals a little bit later on. When we come back, Idriss Farooq out for the year. Let's dive into that injury and its impact on the team and what he had done in fall camp and how big of an issue is that. Come on back. Welcome back into the Sports Source. Folks, have been telling you this for a while. And I know that there aren't tons of you out there who have RVs. But if you are one of those people watching who have an RV, oh my, what a deal. You can register to win. Just follow that QR code or go to that website down there at the bottom. QR code's easier. You can win the Ultimate Tennessee Football RV Tailgate Giveaway. Uncle Jim's River Cove Campground is going to give you, get this, 2 tickets to a UT football game, a parking pass for the RV right near Neyland Stadium. Those rarely come open. They're giving away 1 for all 7 home games. And you get 2 free nights on top of that at Uncle Jim's River Cove Campground. Folks, 7 winners, 1 for each home game. That's $1,200 value for each week of those. That's a pretty good prize. So follow that QR code and register. If you are an RVer, then you need to line up for this. What a great giveaway from Uncle Jim's River Cove Campground. Check out their website. All right, let's do the poll question. I told you we'd be asking what your mood is. It's interesting. The people who go and vote overnight on the website, they wait for it to go up. They're always run a little hot. It always starts a little on the negative side, and then it cools off with the TV show. So I'm interested to see, after the injury news, what is your mood as the season nears? Expectations rising, 14% of you say yay. Expectations holding, 21%. We don't have that option a little later when we do this. Expectations falling. 65% of you say expectations falling. Take your smartphone and point it at that little circle down there in the corner right below the Hearthside Bank logo and play along with us. Tell us what you think is the mood for you right now in terms of the expectations for this Tennessee team. Are they rising? Are they falling? The numbers are starting to move.
That is crazy.
All right, there we go. I like it. And here's the problem. Keep voting. Even if it kind of slows down, it just takes more people to vote. The more that come in, obviously it takes
to move
the needle. So keep voting. All right. Big story from the week was the injury to Idriss Farooq on Friday. Reportedly banged knees with Rodarius Jackson, tore his patellar tendon, led to a dislocated kneecap. That's what led to the ambulance coming on the field, picking him up, taking him to UT Medical Center. Hasn't had surgery yet. Asked about it yesterday, Josh Heupel said, quote, "It affects depth. I don't think it'll affect the creativity of what we're able to do." We'll talk more about the depth chart next, but Chuck, this is a guy who started last year.
Yes.
Many of us thought when they rebuilt that room and brought in Dwayne Lane from Penn State,
right,
okay, Farooq will be knocked down a peg. He will be the backup now. Farooq had such a good summer and a really good start to fall camp that it looked like he was going to hold on to that starting job.
Well, I think it's projected to, yeah.
Yeah. How big of a loss is the loss of Idriss Farooq?
Well, I think it's really hard to understate this. I think it's a huge loss, and I'll tell you why. It was devastating for him, obviously, but it was heartbreaking for a lot of other people. I mean, you got that queasy feeling in your gut when you heard about it. And, I mean, he started 13 games, right? 76 tackles, kind of equally divided, solo, assisted, 2 interceptions, 1 pick six, 4 forced fumbles. So he's all over the place. And you can't hardly replace that, especially in a system where safety is very important.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
And the last thing I would say was, Farooq had the chance to leave. He in an era where everybody else is running and grabbing the money, and he's from Maryland, he chose to stay here, working his butt off to get better, and to have this happen. And there's been a couple others. It just really, there can't be a whole lot more attrition to where it really matters much more.
It really sucks. He's such a smart player. He's gotten better. Jim Knowles' acknowledgement of him is meaningful.
Yeah, they've talked about it.
Yeah, started in the spring, and he was off to a good start here. And it's not like he was going to be a starting safety because Dwayne Lane isn't any good.
Right.
Dwayne Lane is. He just held him off. Mm-hmm. And so Knowles knows how good of a player he was. It's just a really, really tough loss. And we'll get into the specifics, but it thins the ranks there big time.
Massive, in my opinion. He was going to be, on our show on afternoons, we were talking about breakout players. And even though Idriss Farooq played in all 13 games last year for the University of Tennessee, you hear the name and you see the pick six that Chuck alluded to against Kentucky, and you go, good for that guy. But he never was a guy where, don't throw in Farouk's direction. Also, to what Vince said, he's been highlighted. The university, different coordinators, just the way that Jim Knowles paused his press conference to highlight what he's able to do. Plus, he was concrete to be one of the 11. And you get this far into camp, and then all of a sudden it's great that you've got players like Lane or perhaps maybe a DJ Burks, the Maryville product, who could maybe emerge. It's just kind of a shot of a positive direction and momentum you were heading in. And this was a guy who, again, he was very popular from his teammates. When you do one-on-one, Farouk's name got brought up by a lot of his teammates. So
you were on
I don't want to call it a glue guy, but, man, that's important.
You were on the Saturday kickoff, I believe, last week with us, and we were talking before the show, and you mentioned, the guy who's standing out to you is Idriss Farooq.
Idriss Farooq, to me, I was the captain of that bandwagon, and you know what? I hope he gets health very fast, and he's going to be tough to replace for a full season.
Bob, people look at it, and I think Heupel actually said it, next man up, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a reason. There's a reason
people start.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's also that thing which is a little bit harder to put your arms around. Okay, guys are equal athletic ability. They both can jump high. They can both run fast. They both hit hard. But if you read stuff about Farooq, it was kind of what people have alluded to it, that he was a leader. He wasn't a rah, get out there and thump your chest kind of guy. But calling him the glue might go a little too far, but it's in the neighborhood with that.
Right.
That his teammates
paste?
respected him.
He's the paste.
A paste.
He's the paste. He's not
Maybe
glue.
Elmer's, not that.
He's the Elmer stick.
Now you're giving
Yeah.
free pub, free ads for Elmer's. Go
You know
ahead.
how many people out there have no idea what
Elmer's
Elmer's
glue
is?
or paste.
But anyway,
Kind of like glue.
so
sniff
when you lose a guy like that, you lose more than just the athletic ability sometimes.
Right.
And from, like I said, from just what you've seen, he's one of those guys.
Year one for Jim Knowles, you just need established pieces. And when he saw this team in Nashville against Illinois, who could he keep, who could he build around? Idriss Farooq was one of those guys, and now you're taking a step back weeks ahead of kickoff.
All right, very good. When we come back in the next segment, we'll talk what Jim Knowles has said about his safety positions, how he defines it. This is not a break, so let's pull the music back down. We got another VO I want to put in here. I want to tell you that we've got a ton of shows coming up this fall on the Sports Source. Just 8 of them, and we're throwing these things together. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There could be a 9th. That doesn't include some of the other stuff we do, but we got shows all over the place, and you can be a part of them. I am not only putting these together, but also in charge of sales, and let's go ahead and show you. You can do me a favor. Save me time. We had 3, now it's down to 2. Give me an email this week if you want to be a part of the Sports Source family. Ask yourself, how many of our clients can you name? There's a reason. This is good. We got a big audience. And also, we take care of our clients. There are clients who've been on this show for 10, 20 years. Now, if you've been on this show for 1,000 straight shows, pretty good sign it works. Email me, jpsstv@gmail.com. Save me some time so I don't have to go knock on doors. jpsstv@gmail.com. We'll put you a big part of all the stuff we're doing this fall, and I guarantee it's going to be the best bang for the buck you ever had in your life. All right, now we can do the tease. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Jim Knowles' defense and what he had to say about his safety positions. We'll talk about linebackers and the possibility of, well, we'll just put an extra linebacker out there. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. How feasible is that? Come on back. And welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Did you know the heat and humidity of an East Tennessee summer could damage your home? Look, the hot days aren't done yet. It's going to be 90s. Heat index of 106, 107 for the next few days. Folks, what that does is it creates moisture in your crawl spaces. That gets mold going, mildew going, wood rot. Improve the air quality in your home, too. Just get in there. It can lower your energy bills. There's no reason not to do crawl space encapsulation. You're protecting your home. You're also improving the air quality and lowering your bills. Folks, southeasttermite.com to learn more. The Haynes family can take good care of you, as they have many people, including me, since 1971. All right, take a look here. This is my secondary guess as of today. Okay, now look, somebody may come back and say, oh, no, he'll play on the other side. I got it. I'm just trying to put the names out here so you see what's going on. Let's start with the nickel position. Quay Moss is going to be the starter there. They brought in Isaiah Harge from Colorado, but right now it looks like Tevis Metcalf transferred in. He's the brother of TJ Metcalf, who we'll get to in a second. Cornerbacks, you got Kayan Lee and Ty Redmond. You've already lost Jadeus Richard, all right, who was supposed to play the transfer from Miami. Trey Poteet and Tim Merritt, probably your backups there at corner. Then at safety, I've got it listed, we'll get into this in a second, but I've got it listed as a free safety and a strong safety. You've got TJ Metcalf and Dylan Lewis, probably going to be the backup there at free safety, in my opinion. Strong safety, you got Dwayne Lane, and then it's going to be a battle between DJ Burks, who transferred in from Appy State, played a lot, and Sidney Walton, who was basically a special teamer for UT last year here. He's a second-year player. There are some other guys that could be in that mix, but that's my take on it as of right now. Anybody want to throw any? We'll leave it up on screen. Anybody get any major problems with that?
No.
I would actually carbon copy you.
Okay.
No, there's other candidates like backup nickel, and obviously you get into freshmen behind those, but I think you got the right three reserves at those two safety spots, and there's some interchangeability there as well. So Lane has played in the box and as a free at Penn State, and then Metcalf has that same versatility as well. So, yeah, the positions.
I just had to put him somewhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's right.
So, because Farooq was going to be more of the strong guy, which technically isn't what Knowles has called him. Let's go to the next graphic here. All right, a few years ago when he was in Ohio State, he talked to the Columbus Dispatch and broke down how his deal works. He has a bandit position is what they called it. Plays the short side of the field. It's a hybrid safety linebacker, best suited for run support. Most people call it a strong safety.
Right.
All right. Adjuster. Makes in-game pre-snap adjustments, quarterback of the secondary. Yeah, that's free safety. Then your nickel aligns against the slot receiver, blends coverage and run fit responsibility. So it's got different names, and it is versatile. That's what he wants. Tons of versatility. The defense is very much safety-driven.
Yes.
We've heard that since he got here. Safety, safety, safety. You had 4 guys. Now you got 3 guys. Now some of those others may be able. They may step in and be great. But in terms of known commodities, you felt pretty good about 4. Now you're at 3, Bob. There was also talk that, we are meant to be flexible. We're just going to find the best 11 guys. So we could put, and Knowles said this, we could put 2 linebackers out there, which is his usual plan. We could put 3. We could put 4. All right.
You could put 11.
You could put 11. Sounds good. My fear is if you're also, you don't have a good pass rush. So you're going to have to generate that. Now, he's big on disguise. So you're having to generate a pass rush. Can you really afford now to put an extra linebacker out here? And it's a lot of moving pieces that you're having to rig.
Teams that run stuff similar to Knowles, they all lean hard into their safeties. Mm-hmm. Most of them have, if it's an obvious pass down and you don't put a nickel corner, you put in basically a third safety. So flooding the field with linebackers is not the same. It's a different skill set. And we've all sat there and seen wheel routes with running backs come out of the backfield, and here's some poor old linebacker chasing him down the field.
Yeah.
So I think you can't replace safeties with linebackers if your scheme calls for safeties. So what'll happen is out of that depth group that you showed, that's who's going to be it. But no, you can't say, well, we're down to safety, we'll put a linebacker.
Right.
It doesn't work.
And one thing I've watched in watching his defense, if you're trying to generate a pass rush, that's when they really seem to struggle in the Jim Knowles defense, stopping a running quarterback, the mobile quarterbacks.
And they play a bunch of them this year.
And they play a bunch of them this year. So
Go back and watch us online. We did that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All the numbers.
yeah. So I mean that's just one of the currents how you do. And you talk about disguising it, right? Sometimes you can disguise it so well, your own guys get fooled by what you're doing.
Well,
I mean, that's a
it is an
concern.
install. It is an
Yeah.
install this year. It's new. So
Yeah.
I think that does play into how ready are they going to be. I just think there's a lot of moving parts there. Now, everybody keeps coming back to, well, they're so multiple under Knowles. I got news for you. Everybody's multiple these days.
Yeah.
You are going to see downs where there's 4 linebackers. You'll see some where there's 3. You'll see some where there's 2. Probably a lot more with 2 is my guess. But everybody's multiple. I've been hearing that the last couple of days. It's like, oh, but his defense is so flexible. It's not going to be a problem. It's not like everybody. No, we just run a 4-2-5. That is it. Never. It's always the same.
Well, you get picked
So
apart.
he may be. I mean, Heupel hired him for his flexibility in
Yes.
his defense, which is great. I don't think that takes away from the fact that you're down a corner, you're down a safety.
Yes.
And you're
Both
down
of them
a
were supposed to
linebacker.
play.
I mean, he was a
He's
depth
depth, yeah.
linebacker, but you're still down a linebacker.
Yeah.
And you're going to be down 2 come the first 2 games of the season.
When Carter's suspended. All right, go ahead.
I think part of the multiplicity that they're talking about is the disguise aspect
Yeah.
of it. It's not just we always do this or we do all these different formations. Is pre-snap they think one thing, we're going to show something else because of the versatility and how we can move some pieces around. The bigger concern for me is that swap between safeties and linebackers. A lot of times is a third safety in place of a linebacker. Now you're doing it the reverse. Do you have the players that can compensate and do those responsibilities by having an extra linebacker versus a third safety on the field, which they probably would have done with Lane at times?
You've got, that goes back to, where was the quote? Heupel on Farooq's injury. It affects the depth. I don't think it'll affect the creativity of what we'll be able to do. At some point, though, if your depth gets too low, it does impact your credibility because you're asking somebody who wouldn't be asked to do this thing to do this thing. You want to wrap it up?
If there's any ding of losing Farooq, it is, as I made reference to earlier, is the glue, but at least Dwayne Lane's coming into a situation where he's familiar with what he's getting himself into. So if you're trying to find, I guess, the silver lining in the injury, at least somebody has an experience of that.
Again, he was expected when they signed him.
Exactly.
Everybody thought he was going to be the guy.
And everybody also remembers when he had to play last year early, Ty Redmond did not look good. Now everybody loves Ty Redmond. So if you got to go with a younger guy as the depth that you're now missing, hey, by the end of the season, you may have found somebody who's going to be here a while.
True, but what does that mean versus Georgia Tech, Texas, Auburn early in the season?
It means a lot of people
Like you
sitting
saw-
there going,
Like you saw with Ty
And
Redmond.
Knowles did go out of his way to include Dylan Lewis when he was talking about Idriss Farooq, so there's a positive.
Yeah. Okay. When we come back, who's up, who's down, who's out? Let's run through the injury list. And then we got much more to come on this show. Tons more to come. Who's going to be better prepared out of their opener for that Georgia Tech-Tennessee game in week 2? We'll talk about our expectations, and I want you to continue clicking our poll. We'll check that next. Come on back. And welcome back to our show. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Boy, when it comes to specials, these guys have them. Now through next Sunday, it's their summer sales event. Introductory 5.99% APR for 60 months, 10.99% for 120 months. It's also the G3 inventory closeout now through August 31st. Folks, visit madmarine.com and click special events for more info. It's right along the top of the website, special events. You're going to see a million reasons to head down to Highway 411 North in Madisonville, a town where I spent a lot of summers. Madisonville Marine, there's no better place to buy a boat. And when you look at the special events going on down there right now, you're going to agree with me. Ain't nobody better. All right, let's remind folks of the poll. All right, it is expectations holding. I never should put the middle thing in there. I do it. I don't let my guys do it. I allow the people at home to cavalier the question. But expectations holding about 50%. You can see that the expectations falling has dropped, but it's still larger than expectations rising. Last week, everybody on this panel that was here all said, if I got to go up or down, I'm going up. I'll be interested to see what we say today. Keep playing along on your smartphone. It just takes a little bit more to move the needles the more votes we have come in, but go ahead and play with us. I appreciate it. Okay. Let me talk about who's up, first of all. Positive talk coming out of the scrimmage. Mike Matthews, there have been a lot of positive talks about him all fall camp. Looks the part, catching the ball with more regularity, more consistency. Good talk about him yesterday. Deshaun Bishop, Javen Gordon, you mentioned both of those guys at running back. Arian Carter with the tip and pick. David Hobbs and Xavier Gillum got some praise, which is interesting considering there has been talk about the run game up the middle being inconsistent, but those two were singled out. Cooper Ranvier, the kicker, continue to hear good things about him. Any other goods that you've read, heard, talked to somebody over there that you want to throw in?
I would say Javen Gordon. He's in.
I had that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely.
You should be sorry.
No, it's Jordan Norman. I'm sorry. It's the other Tulane transfer, Jordan Norman.
Gotcha,
He's another one that's had a good camp. Ronnie Gardner didn't compliment a lot of those guys because of the inconsistency, but that is one he pointed out. So Tyree Weathersby has been probably the next best out of those groups. So any small little compliment from Rodney Gardner, the mood he was in, that's a positive. And then Braylon Staley has caught everything that I've seen in addition to Mike Matthews when I've been at practice.
Braylon Staley, he caught it at the very end. Staley, who was, I guess, absent on a lot of media's preseason, all conference teams in Tampa, perhaps other publications. Depending on how highs or lows Tennessee's final record is come December, Braylon Staley is going to be on a lot of those postseason accolades. I think 14 is going to be a huge part of the success. If he continues to do what he's done in camp, I think Tennessee, we know who their number one target's going to be. Doubt as if there was a question in the beginning.
Did you hear anybody else up that you want to put in there?
Well, I had his name, and then the running back from Tulane.
Oh, Javen Gordon. Yeah.
Javen Gordon. Okay,
That's the third guy to mention Javen Gordon.
That is how my brain works because you're sitting there and I'm going, well, the running back from Tulane.
Bad day. I only heard one name.
Tight end?
Deshaun Brain. Ethan Davis wasn't out there. We'll get to that in a second. Deshaun Brain, the talk has been in camp that he's getting so much better as a blocker. And with Ethan Davis hurt again, we did on the Saturday kickoff yesterday. I asked the question, who's going to get more snaps at tight end this year? Brame or Davis? Okay. Then Brame goes out and can't catch a cold, which yesterday wasn't a one-off in your opinion in terms of catching the football.
He's probably the guy that I've seen have the most drops. Now, it's not like 30 or anything crazy, but probably the most. Also, he was stripped by Dwayne Lane on a play, in part of the highlights that was out there. So you can't give up the football also in addition to putting the ball on the ground. Now, the crazy thing is with the improvement in blocking, he's incredible when he catches the ball, his burst, his twitch. He's flashed his ability, but you can't have that up and down.
Meaningless if you don't catch the ball.
It is totally meaningless if you don't catch the ball. And here's a funny thing. You know, we've talked about Ethan Davis all offseason because I think he can be really good. I was reading some pro draft stuff for next year, and he's high on a bunch of lists. He really hadn't done anything here. But it tells you that people see that athletic ability.
Yeah.
I still think he'll play more.
Well, if he's healthy.
If he's healthy.
There were times last year when he had been in the game, he wasn't hurt, and he's not out there in key situations.
Yes.
So I don't think it's just, he plays unless he's hurt. No, last year they liked Miles Kitzelman a whole lot. So we'll see. I hope he plays a lot because if you've got young quarterbacks, you better have some tight ends that are taking care of them. You need them to be the security blankets, and you're not a security blanket if you can't catch the football or if you get stripped. Or stay on the field. Let's talk about the injury list. All right, it's starting to pile up. Jadeus Richard, the transfer from Miami, was supposed to be a contributor at corner, out for the season. Jaden Harmon, lost him. We got that news during the show last week, out for the season. He's a depth piece at linebacker. Idriss Farooq, who we've talked about. Ethan Davis, missed the scrimmage. He's missed like 4 or 5 practices in a row. Ty Redmond, coming back from illness, missed the scrimmage. And then 2 of your depth pieces on the offensive line missed the scrimmage. Starting to get concerned. I mean, Redmond hasn't been out there. Richard gone. Farooq, gone. Starting to get a little concerned with the secondary.
I'm not concerned yet about Ty Redmond. My understanding is it's just kind of a bug that's going around.
Yeah, well,
Everybody's caught it here or there. But again,
he's missed a week of practice.
Reps, and again, getting back to kind of, I guess, scrimmage or fall camp status, if you will. So out of those names, some of those depth pieces, yeah, especially Ethan Davis, Ty Redmond. If you want to continue to build the hype, get out there and get healthy, get some IV, get some stuff in you.
I think I can't remember if I talked about it here yesterday, last week, or if I talked about it on the Saturday kickoff, but I like Ty Redmond. We kept saying last year, he'll be fine, he'll be fine, give him a chance. And he had a good close to the season. Mm-hmm. The hype's off the chart now. It's gone too far in that he's an All-American. Let's dial that down. I want to see more. So I want him on the field practicing.
It's not unfair.
So
it sounds like he was there at practice, just very limited. They're doing this acclimation period to get him back, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's full go by this week. So that's a positive. But there's more.
That's
You're right.
a positive. The fact he's missed 4 or 5 days, not a positive. You guys
sure.
can spin all you want.
Yeah.
Not a positive. Bad. Okay. When we come back, let's talk about expectations. Are those bad? That's next. Come on back. And welcome back to our show. This segment brought to you by schrealestate.net. That is SCH Real Estate. Stephen Hensley, VFL, guy played for the Vols, and he promises that when you call him, what you're going to get is service, not a sales pitch. No sales, just service. He's not going to give you that pitch. He's going to answer your questions and try to help you any way he can. And with 18 full-time real estate agents, folks, that's a lot of help working for you, with you on your real estate questions. schrealestate.net to learn more. Call Stephen this week at SCH Real Estate. Good guy, and a VFL. All right. We're going to be taking stock of our own expectations now. We've thrown Vince off the set. We're kind of rotating around, so we've only got 3 out here. We're racing through these last few segments. Okay. Chuck, I'm going to ask you. You can't say holding. Let's put the poll up there just for a second, see where that is. Okay, the 54% say holding. You cannot. Yeah. So you got to say expectations rising or falling. Pick one. Where are you this week? And we're going to do this every week.
I'll tell you the truth. I think it's falling a little bit. The kind of the uncertainty at the quarterback, if nobody's really
grabbing it
and running with it, the injuries. It is falling a little. They weren't real high to begin with, but it is falling just slightly.
Last week I said mine were going up just a tad because I just believe in Heupel and I think it's going to be working out. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think you got to go down this week a little bit. Doesn't mean I'm dropping them a full loss or anything or adding a loss to the record. But I think it has to be going down a little bit because you don't have a quarterback that's stepping forward, as Chuck said.
And
I think this Farooq injury, it hurts. We can sit here and say all we want that, it's just depth. Yes, it's depth. And eventually, depth can derail a football team. Tyler, you up, down?
I was actually up until the Idriss injury because he was a concrete starting 1 of 11, because he had done so much and been highlighted, as we've already highlighted today on the show. In my opinion, there's no way you can go without there being a neutral, flat, not moving. If it's one or the other, I have to go just a touch bit south.
Yeah. Bob?
I'm going up. I had Tennessee at 8-4. I still have them at 8-4, but now 2 of the losses come in overtime.
Oh.
And so that's even better. That's a close game.
Yes.
No, mine, it's got to be down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think any news that came out of this week of practice made anybody go, oh my gosh, things are really looking up. You hear good things about individual players. Mm-hmm. Mike Matthews, a guy that I think everybody's been waiting to really hit it.
Yeah.
So you hear good things.
Right.
Deshaun Bishop, a lot of people think he's elevating himself as one of the better backs in the country. But for all of that, yes, the injuries. And Chuck, I agree with you 100%. Until you get that quarterback job settled, everything's going to be up in the air.
And even then, I'm going to have questions about it. If Faizon Brandon or George MacIntyre had come out this fall and torn it up and jammed the flag in the middle of the field and claimed that job, my thought would be, that's great. Let's see how they look when the lights come on in Atlanta.
Sure.
Not Furman. Let's see what they look like against Georgia. Because we've seen this before, and we've talked about it before, there have been quarterbacks at Tennessee who were practice guys and not players. There are others who weren't good in practice. But when the lights came on, they were players.
Right.
So until we see that, I'm still going to have questions about the quarterback. But the fact that we're still sitting here and there's not a clear-cut leader.
Yeah.
I think Brandon is the leader, but you still hear talk that it's maybe a letter grade between them, not 2 letter grades. Nobody's jumped out and yanked this thing.
Playing a game in 20 days.
And one thing, too, think about how many players on this team have improved physically.
Well, that's good.
Brandon's
19 pounds of lean muscle.
And you were hoping GMAC would be one of the ones that would be able to do that too.
He has put on weight.
Some,
He's put
but
on
I
weight.
mean-
I mean, look at the photos. He's put on weight.
but no, I don't think as much as they'd hoped.
No.
Okay.
All right, very good. When we come back, well, first, before we do that, I'm always leading my guy down the wrong road. Don't forget, Jimmy Himes has new columns up all the time. We got 3 a week from Jimmy at sportsource.tv or ssdn.tv. Either one of those will take you to the same website. He talks about they're the 2 latest columns from Jimmy. I can't read them from where I am, but you can read them and the column, not just the headline, by checking them out online. Visit our website today. Okay, when we come back, Georgia Tech opens with Colorado. There you go. Tennessee opens with Furman. Which is the better opener for getting you ready for week 2? You can go either way with that one, so we'll debate that next. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. Folks, a camera security system for your home can drop your insurance premiums by as much as 20%. And they aren't just a crime deterrent. They also allow you, if you're taking care of aging parents, if you've got pets that you leave at home, if you've got young kids and you've got to leave them home after school or something, folks, the camera system allows you to keep a constant eye on your home. So it's a great move for any homeowner out there. Safety Systems, call former Vol J.J. Surlis and his team this week to get them out there to your home. You'll find their security system signs all around my house. I'm a believer. Safety Systems. Okay, let's take a look at the final poll results and see where that wound up. Expectations holding 54%. Of course, we did wind up, I can't complain because we were kind of negative on here too. Expectations falling a little bit. Not bad though, 28% to 18%. 18% still say the expectations rising after this week. Sterling's on there.
Put your phone up, Sterling.
Sterling's
I'm anxious to
chiming
see.
in.
I'm anxious to hear what we have to say after the second scrimmage. Yeah.
Well, usually they ask, usually after the second scrimmage, they name their quarterback. It'll be interesting to see if they're farther enough along to do that. Okay. By the way, that's Tyler Ivins right there. Let me go ahead and show you.
Finger point. There it is.
There it is. Final horn coming up. That'll start in less than a month now. We're going to do a run-through this week, as a matter of fact. Tyler Ivins and John from Sports Talk J. If you watch him on YouTube, he's going to be with Tyler 11:30 on Sunday nights with a brand new show, a fan-first opinion, mood, vibe show, the Sports Source Final Horn. It's going to be presented by Professional Jewelers. We thank them.
to have them on.
Very good. Okay, here's the interesting question I thought. Everybody's talking about Tennessee and Furman. Georgia Tech opens with Colorado. Now, they host them in Atlanta.
Right.
But I don't know how good Colorado's going to be, but they're going to be better than Furman, you would think. What's the better preparation getting ready for week 2? And you could take this in one of 2 ways. Georgia Tech will have done some real hitting, had some real game action. Tennessee won't get much of that, but you probably come out of Furman, you would like to think, a little less beat up than you would if you were playing a power conference team, in theory. So, whoever wants it can jump it first. Which is the better opener in terms of prepping for week 2? Is it Colorado or is it Furman?
This is the easiest question you've asked all morning.
Oh, I thought it was a good question, but you say it's easy.
No, it's a
Go
great
ahead.
question, but it's an easy answer. Colorado.
You'd rather play Colorado
I'd
than
play
Furman?
Colorado.
Not from a viewer perspective, but in terms of getting your team ready.
There's a popular fast food chain in the Yankees. Where's the beef? I want Colorado. I want Colorado because I want Colorado against a Power 4 opponent just so I can see what exactly my young team's going to do. Tennessee, who in 2025 was one of the youngest in the SEC, you move a couple of those guys up a year of experience, but you're already kind of seeing what your depth looks like. I need some semblance of what it's going to look like going up against a not-so-great Big 12 team in Colorado, but what that could mean early in September and October against Auburn, what that could mean against Texas, what that could mean in showdowns with Arkansas.
John, I think this is the easiest question you've asked on the show. It's Furman.
Certainly it is a good question.
Yeah, let me tell you what. You've got a 9-game SEC schedule coming up. You also play Georgia Tech week 2. Here's what I wrote down. You've got a new quarterback, you've got a new defensive coordinator, you've got a new defensive staff, you've got a new kicker. Give me a dress rehearsal at home in an opener, run through the tee, experience all that. To me, it's clearly Furman. There's a lot of big games coming up later.
I'm actually on Chuck's side. I think it's Furman also. You're going to have to play this game anyway. You're going to have these games on your schedule anyway. What good does it do you after you've had some of your challenges? So you might as well get a ramp up before you start to pick it up. Doesn't mean they won't perform against Georgia Tech, but I'd rather have it with all those new pieces, youth and new pieces. I'd rather have it before then. And I think Colorado works best for Georgia Tech in a totally different
Georgia Tech's going to have a new quarterback. Georgia Tech's going to have a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
In their opener, and they're going against the real team.
But here's the thing. I want to be able to watch Georgia Tech without Haynes Steen, with Mendoza, the new quarterback, against a decent opponent in Colorado. I want to be able to scout that game before I play.
Come on over, John.
Well, yeah.
Come on over.
I think you're better prepared if you play a real team. Now, the danger is you could lose. You could lose that game.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about who's going to be better prepared for week 2, I think it's the team that will have played a real opponent as opposed to Tennessee. And I'm not so sure that Josh Heupel doesn't agree, because I think he's taking care of the physical side of things. I thought this was interesting. A little comment from him after the scrimmage yesterday. You know, over 50% of it was tackling throughout the course of the day. Some good work. We've done a bunch of tackling during the course of our practices, too. Today, you know, pads were popping. It was physical through training camp. I think it's been really physical. Okay, 50%. That's more tackling than they've done in recent times.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's partially we're just trying to get this team to a different mental level. We're trying to get Jim Knowles' defense aligned. Part of it also may be, well, to get ready for Georgia Tech, we ain't going to get much hitting against Furman.
I think one side had Tennessee missing 137 tackles last year, and that was way down the list. So, yeah, that is something you need to improve.
Working on it is big. And that you make a good point that doing that against Colorado would
like
give
me.
you the better read on the physicality. So, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think
Not enough to sway me, but it was still
Well, I'm with you. All right, very good. Which means congratulations. You're right. And hang on a second. Yep, I just got a text from Sterling. Says, yep, my vote is rising. Expectations rising from Sterling Hinton, who, by the way, he's got a new show that's going to be popping up on the Sports Source Digital Network very soon. It is Sterl the Pearl's Big Orange Pop Quiz, and the first episode's already done. You're going to like it.
Oh,
You're going to like it.
baby.
Yeah. Oh, baby. When we come back, 2 signs of the sports apocalypse. Those are next. Then I'll introduce you to the Gutless 9, the most cowardly football programs in the country this year. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Games and Things every Saturday during our Saturday kickoff show. Guys enter the studio, and someone, usually Bob, heads to the Pop-A-Shot game. Tennessee's official word mark is on the side. Programmable games on this thing, a shot clock. It is a blast, and you can get your UT-branded Pop-A-Shot at Games and Things. Be just like the Vols, folks. OurGameRoom.com to learn more. Get out there and see them. The corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Scott and Lisa Mellon take great care of you good people. All right, time for the signs of the sports apocalypse. And no, that wasn't done with AI, not at all. Signs of the sports apocalypse. I haven't done this in a while, but I did see 2 this week that I thought were just so bizarre we'd get them into the show. And the first one is former LSU Heisman winner Jaden Daniels doesn't want his number 5 jersey being worn by another player. LSU promised him we won't give it out again. Yeah. Now they're giving it out again. And he has gone so far as to send a cease and desist letter to the school saying they can't use his name, image, or likeness anymore in terms of promoting their program because they have unretired his jersey. Okay, now, LSU did promise we're going to retire your jersey and then didn't.
Ooh.
Who's in the wrong here? LSU or a kid who's like, I'm going to cut all ties because you've unretired my jersey?
Oddly enough, I'm going to side with LSU because it hadn't officially been retired, and B, if I'm Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, Worry about what's going on around here right now, and let's not think too much about that. So I'm going to go with LSU.
Yeah, I think Daniels, specifically his camp, is in the wrong. I think he's getting bad advice. It's not worth this fight. Look, he's getting trolled by the New York Mets now, who have their own issues. Sorry, Tyler, but you know. But it's everyone is making fun of him. It's not worth the payoff for you to fight this fight. I just don't get it. And Leonard Fournette said it best. It's nothing is bigger than the program's brand, and that's the case.
Well, and it is what back channels are for. Isn't this what you're supposed to kind of handle behind the scenes?
Apparently, he tried that and it didn't work. His
Well,
family's talking about what
and
an
here's the
insult
thing:
it
if
is.
LSU is recruiting a top player and he says, "I want to wear number 5," and you want that player,
Well, and that player says, "I've worn it my whole life. I'm
Yeah.
not giving it up."
so there
because
you
now
go.
You got
I
an
mean,
18-year-old.
yeah, come on, Jaden.
You got an 18-year-old with an ego. But why do you think Jaden Daniel has this kind of ego? Because they've treated him like this since he was, we're going to retire your jersey. Well, retire my jersey. There's a way around this, and I think everybody should do this. Don't retire the jersey. Don't retire the number. Retire the jersey. So you could have
Correct.
Jaden Daniels number 5. That is retired. It's on the stadium. Great. And Holcomb Smith was number 5 in 1952. His is over here. You don't put the number out of rotation. You just retire that named jersey.
Can they still do double numbers? Could there be 2 number 5s?
Well, sure, that's the thing.
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be
Joe
hilarious.
Burrow.
Yeah, that'd be
Joe
hilarious.
Burrow also said they told him they wouldn't play with his number, and they have. I just don't promise the kid this. First of all, second of all, kids got to grow up and not be a punk. I just think that's weak. All of them. All right, everybody's a loser. Pox on all their houses. Next, Ohio State announced this past week that their senior day will not be celebrated on the last week of the season against Michigan. They're going to move it from the Michigan game. They're going to honor their seniors in week 1 against Ball State. Is this a who cares or that's stupid?
Can I say the word damn?
Yeah, I guess you just did.
Damn stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's ignorant. Senior day is the culmination of these guys' careers at home.
Yep.
And to move that to the beginning, the opponent, that's whoever you're playing at the end of the season. But that's just, I think it's awful. I think it's awful.
I think
it's stupid or who cares?
It's stupid / disrespectful. It's basically saying, we have to do this, so we're going to put it somewhere where it doesn't get in the way. And it's just part of your senior journey is what you're celebrating, and you're doing it beforehand. It really is.
Well, Ryan Day hasn't had the best record against Michigan, so I just.
And what is the reasoning behind
They
it?
couldn't sell the naming
That you're
rights.
going to be distracted.
Senior day
We're
brought
not going
to
to
you
be at our
by-
top of our game.
I just wonder if it's not. They haven't had great results against Michigan. I think they beat them last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was the first time in like 4 or 5 tries.
Or maybe they're afraid some of their seniors will opt out.
I just think doing senior day on the first game of the year is
It
just.
is ridiculous.
Stupid.
Although there is an element of who cares, but it is stupid. So it's a little of both. Okay.
Got to pick one.
It's stupid because it's a break from tradition.
Yeah.
But I agree. It should be. This is your last time through the opening, whether that's the tee or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It should be. Wow, I'm going to take this all in instead of. Oh, I got 8 more of these after Ball State
And
today.
at the end of the season, I think the crowd's more into
And the
it.
families go out. There's just so much involved in it. It just doesn't make sense.
When we come back, there are 9 Power 4 teams that won't play a fellow Power 4 team in a non-conference game this season. I'll introduce you to the Gutless 9 next. Come on back. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment of our show, we do it every week. It's called A Source for Good. It's where we shine the spotlight on some of the smaller East Tennessee charities that might not get as much spotlight. They're great charities, and you might have heard of them, but they just don't have the giant budget that some of the big boys do, and we want to draw their attention to them. And today we're looking at Generous House. This is a great cause here. They're located at 340 Park Village Road. They run a free drive-through food pantry and diaper bank, and we want to help them with their diaper cause because that's just very unusual. They've given out more than 40,000 diapers to families in need of help caring for their kids. What a great cause that is. Biggest need right now are diapers sizes 1 through 5, pull-ups, and baby wipes. Visit their location or go to their website, generoushouseknox.org. You can donate diapers or you can ask them to help you set up a diaper drive. All donations are tax deductible and they don't have any employees. It's 100% volunteer. So if you help with cash donations, it all goes to those in need, not employees. Generous House, again, visit them, generoushouseknox.org. And once again, we appreciate the Sports Source family for helping us spread the word, helping these different charities in East Tennessee. You have made this show a tradition here. This will be our 24th football season. That's all due to you taking care of our clients. Here, let me look at this camera. That's all due to you taking care of our clients, and I just appreciate you. So many of these charities that we've told you about just in the last few months since we've started doing this have gotten back to me, and they've gotten a really good response to it. So thank you on my behalf. I appreciate it. All right, let's take a look at the Gutless 9. All right, so some of these I'm going to give a little bit of a pass to. Arizona this year, these are teams that don't play another power. These are Power 4 teams that don't play a Power 4 team in a non-conference game. They dodged them. Well, Arizona does have a game scheduled with Washington State. Washington State was a Power 4 team. I'm not going to hold that against Arizona that they've got a game against a team that their conference blew up. It wasn't their fault. Houston playing Oregon State, same thing. Mm-hmm. Indiana, cowards. They won the national championship doing this, which makes you wonder if it's the right way to go. I hate it, but they have not played a Power 4 team as a non-conference foe since Curt Cignetti arrived, and they just canceled the Notre Dame series. Coward. So Google him. He's a coward. Next, Kansas State, they host Washington State. So, again, they've got a former P4 team on there. I don't know when that contract was made. Nebraska. Ooh. Hey, look, I've called Tennessee cowardly when they canceled with BYU, when they canceled with North Carolina, when they canceled with Army. I'll call Nebraska a coward for canceling with Tennessee. Tennessee went out and signed Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech also connected to this. They already had Colorado on their schedule, and they took the game with Tennessee. Nebraska, out of that little trio, cowards, gutless curs. All right, Penn State next. Haven't played a Power 4 non-conference team since 2024, so last year, no. This year, no. That's pathetic. You are Penn State. Texas Tech, they got Oregon State on there, okay. USC, they and Notre Dame paused their series because they couldn't agree on the date was the issue, because Notre Dame's not in a conference. USC moved into a conference, or changed conferences, I should say. And then Washington's got Washington State on there. I'm giving a pass to 6 of those. To me, it's really the 3 dogs of college football, Indiana, Nebraska, Penn State. Your thoughts, gentlemen? Am I being too harsh on these gutless curs?
No. You know, I asked before we saw the list, is Indiana on there? Because they would be my number 1. Mm-hmm. You know, especially as the defending national champion, and then you cancel Notre Dame.
Yeah, Curt Cignetti was talking big. He said, we'll play Notre Dame. Well, they can come to our place twice, and then we'll go there once because they're not in a conference. Well, it's easy to say that when you know it's not going to happen.
Right.
So.
See, this is my issue, is if I'm on that committee, and you're supposed to take scheduling into account.
Yep.
If I'm on that committee, hey, I'm not keeping Indiana out of the playoff. You're not going in as number 1. You'll start from the 3 spot. We'll seed you number 4. You didn't play anybody outside your conference. Sorry, gutless, that's the penalty. But they don't do it, so the question then becomes, you got a lot of fans out there like, hey, man, let's schedule Furman and Kennesaw State, and instead of Georgia Tech, bring me the University of Delaware at Oneida. They got a satellite campus at Oneida. That's where you are.
Until they show us a metric or formula that says, we're penalizing you if you keep this up, then no. Then schedule patsies, play your conference schedule, and then ride it to a national championship. Indiana, if it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. Are they gutless, though? 1,000,000%. But guess what? They'll gutless their way to parades, confetti, and T-shirts. That's the way it is.
Ugh, hate it. Okay. My clock must be off because we're starting the music already. Okay. Vince Farrar, thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck Cavaleris, thank you. Bob Hodge, Tyler Evans, thank you. Thank you. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to our crew here at WATE. Go subscribe to the Sports Source Digital Network today. We'll see you next week.